Alright, what's up guys, Tactics here with another video for you. And well guys, today I want to give my first impressions on Trails Through Daybreak. After having the pleasure of playing the game for around 30 plus hours now, I gotta say, this game does not disappoint. It checks almost every box that I like in a JRPG, from the story, the complex relations of the characters, and even, of course, the stellar gameplay with the battle system. So let's not waste any time here. I'm gonna dive right in, but before I do guys, I would really appreciate it if you guys could hit that like button for me and maybe even subscribe for more videos like this. It really does help me out a lot. Now then, let's start with the story. Now I'm not entirely sure if you need any knowledge of previous games if you don't know much about the series like me, but so far I haven't really had any real problem following along with the story. But anyways, we start with an exchange between some local thugs and these mafia guys. However, the exchange goes south for Team Local Thugs when they realize their poor decisions when dealing with, well, an actual mafia gang. A brawl breaks out, leading the goods to getting picked up by an unknown man with his own agenda. Next, we cut to a young high school girl looking up our main stud to help her in her own case. We finally meet our main protagonist Van, who runs his own sort of vigilante organization. He goes around helping people with their problems that they find hard to take to the authority figures like the police or even the bracers. And since this is set in a fantasy world, you know we have to have another organization separate from the police, being the Guild, which is controlled by a group of individuals known as, once again, the bracers. Since Van is an absolute Chad, he does things his own way, even if it means edging on that line of what could be considered legal. So our two main lead characters meet as the high school girl introduces herself as Anyaz, your seemingly typical high school girl who just so happens to go to a prestigious school in the city of Calver. She explains her situation to Van by saying she's looking for her great-grandfather's trinket, which turns out to be some sort of artifact that he and a couple of other geniuses created back in their heyday. After learning the details, Van agrees to help her find her missing item, which kicks off the main plot of the story. Right away, you learn that Van is very good at what he does, seeing that this man traces the recent activities of the mafia incident with the thugs to having something to do with Anyaz's missing trinket. Both Anyaz and Van find themselves down in the underground tunnels looking for the mysterious guy from earlier to see what he knows about Anyaz's lost item. This incident that happens at the start of the game will ignite a series of events that will lead to a long conflict between the authorities and a secret organization looming in the shadows. Just from the prologue alone is enough to suck you into the world and start seeing that there are some mysteries under the surface of what the game presents to you. Not to mention the many different factions that crop up due to the sudden appearance of this unknown organization. And with our main characters being in the epicenter of this conflict, you will be given choices throughout the game that will shape your alliances with said factions and how they will treat you in many different cases. Speaking of the characters though, let's talk a little bit more about some of them. So once again, Van is a badass vigilante with his own organization known as Arkwright Solution. He stays above a cafe run by his landlords Victor, who is the owner and chef of the cafe, his daughter Paulette, and her child Yume. Victor always gives Van a hard time, but still cares enough about him to provide a roof over his head and even a place to return to after a long hard days of work. So long as he continues to pay that rent, damn it. Paulette is a graceful waitress at the cafe who gives off that warm and welcoming feeling. Absolute wifey material. And whatever happened to her husband though, well, who knows. And then you got little Yume, who sees Van as her big brother. All very lovable and colorful characters right from the jump. And later in the game, you even have the possibility to develop your relationship with many of the side characters that you come across in your free time. That goes for party members as well, like Anyaz, who quickly becomes an invaluable asset to Van by joining his company. But don't think that it's all sunshine and rainbows, since Van, being the Chad that he is, has a lot of women surrounding him. And well, that does indeed unfortunately comes with woman troubles, as you'll see throughout many interactions in the game. Anyaz herself is just a pleasant individual to be around. She's a student of Aramis Academy in Edith. However, she's no pushover, since she does know how to take care of herself with a little bit of self-defense. Now on the surface, she seems like your typical rich girl, but you quickly realize that she is a lady with substance and integrity. Despite her being younger than Van, she is wise for her age and is a good judge of character since she grows pretty fond of Van after getting to know the Spriggan, as many call him. As I said before, she joins up with Van and becomes a part-timer, working with him on many cases together, and you'll soon see this becoming a pattern as you progress through the game. More characters will be recruited, such as the young warrior girl Fairy, who despite her age and size is a full-fledged fighter with the grip strength of a grown-ass man. Fairy will be your second recruit once you complete chapter 1. She will be your secondary attacker as well, since Inez is more on the support side of the spectrum. You know, since we are on the subject of combat, let's go ahead and discuss how the battle system works. The battle system can be broken into 2 phases, with the first being the field phase. This is when your group of characters pull up on a monster and you're able to just attack freely like you would with any other action RPG. However, if I had to give any pros and cons to this phase, I would say that the cons is that there are no real flashy attacks or skills associated with this phase. Instead, you are stuck with spamming the attack button to deal damage and dodging enemy attacks so that you can build up that charge gauge. The charge attack lets you deal more damage and also stun enemies more easily. Once their stun meter reaches 100%, stun enemies take more damage, but you only get about 2 to 3 seconds before they get back up for round 2. The only pros I can really give the field phase is the fact that weaker enemies can easily be dispatched without having to deal with any sort of sluggish transitions into battle mode. And that's another neat aspect to the battle system, the seamless transition into battle. It makes for a more streamlined experience without any sort of invasive transitions. Speaking of transitions though, let's get into the real meat and grit of the battle system, which is the second phase known as the command phase. This is more along the line of turn-based systems where speed determines turn order of your characters. Characters can move freely within the circle of the battlefield depending on their movement. Character attacks using their basic attacks or either with arts and crafts. No, not that kind of arts and crafts, I'm talking magic and a character's personal skills. All these abilities have varying effects, like weakening enemies to dealing more damage from the side or the back, and delaying enemy turns. Characters can also boost their stats mid-battle with shard boosting, which allows them to then pull off some pretty powerful attacks for massive damage. Shards play an important role in gaining the advantage, since that is what you use when you initiate a command battle. By stunning monsters in the field phase, you can then use shards to initiate a command battle, causing more damage and delaying the enemy turn to the stunned monster. There is quite a bit here to make these encounters against different monsters unique enough on how you want to tackle each battle. I haven't even mentioned customizing your orbment, which is like a secondary skill tree. Adding quartz to open slots yields different secondary abilities to your characters, like adding the water element to your attacks. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the materia mechanic from Final Fantasy VII. You can add new arts to your arts driver for more diversity, or change your driver entirely for a new set of arts. Depending on your relationship with certain characters as well, can also help augment your stats. So what about outside of battle? Well, since Van is such a stand-up guy, he goes around the city of Calvert and occasionally outside the city to help those in need of his services. For a fee, of course. I mean, the guy's gotta make a living out here somehow in these streets. Can't be out here doing charity work. These jobs do come in the form of 4 SPGs that you find on these poster boards scattered across the city in every area. There you can choose what jobs are available before you meet up with your client. Once you've gotten the details, it's up to you if you want to take on the job or not. And these jobs can range between monster slaying from bracer clients to helping out with certain people being stalked, or even handling situations where the client may have gotten roped into doing some, well, illegal business. Either way, many jobs come with a choice that you may have to make a decision, which leads to different outcomes, and this can affect your LGC alignment graph, which determines what factions may align with you depending on the level of your alignment. Honestly, I'm still in the process of seeing how the LGC graph affects you in the game particularly. Like, does it affect what kinds of jobs become available to you in the future? Can you make an enemy out of the bracers or the police if you lean too far into the chaos side? As of right now, it remains to be seen. but I can't deny that it makes me invested in seeing how my choices will pan out in the end. Couple everything that I just talked about on top of having a solid soundtrack. Every track plays a pivotal part in setting up the environment and giving you an idea of this new area that you've just ventured to. It is without a doubt that this game has opened my eyes to the Trails series and really made me excited to go back and try some of the other games that some people, including myself, overlooked for so long. Between the great cast of characters so far, and the deep storytelling, and how the characters interact with one another, it really shows the love and thought that was put into this game. I also appreciate the game giving the player a little bit of a mature sort of world building. Maybe it's because you're playing as a man simply trying to make a living with his own company, or that the story just takes itself serious enough while still having plenty of lighthearted moments throughout your experience playing. I hope this video was enough to make even just a few people want to give this game a try if you haven't already. I don't think you'll be disappointed. The Trails series, also known as the Legend of Heroes series, is a franchise that's been around for quite some time now. And because of that, I couldn't tell you when the series started to reach the English audience, but I'm kicking myself now for not getting into the series when it did. But that's all in the past now, since I do intend to play more Trails games in the future. But what do you guys think about this hidden gem in the JRPG genre? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching to the end. If you liked anything in the video, I would really appreciate it if you hit that like button for me and maybe even subscribe if you're feeling even more generous for more JRPG goodness and other related topics. Either way, I appreciate it all the same, and with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.